The corrupt AG wants $370 million as a fee for what I did, and I did nothing wrong. Nothing. $370 million, which is much more than any loan. Much more. That was peanuts.
If he does not have funds to pay off the judgment, then we will seek, judgment enforcement mechanisms in court, and we will ask the judge to seize his assets. Financial frauds are not victimless crimes. He engaged in this massive amount of fraud, and it wasn't just a simple mistake, a slight oversight. The variations were wildly exaggerated, and the extent of the fraud was staggering. And last I checked, tourism is up, and Wall Street is doing just fine.
If you broke the law, we are going to find out and we are going to investigate you.
Letitia James officially being charged by the FBI. Your take on this, the table is yours.
Well, yeah, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, she is being charged with the same thing as you said that she alleged President Trump did. And I think that there was like a huge fine that was imposed on the president. I think it was like $300 million, if I remember correctly.
What should happen to the Attorney General? I mean, you are in very interesting waters here. If found guilty, these are federal crimes. What should happen to Letitia James?
Well, maybe how about a fine of this $300 million like that was levied against President Trump?
My response is it's baseless. Listen, Donald Trump is on a revenge tour.
New York's own Attorney General Letitia James, and the problems that she is now facing is Letitia James, according to this from the Times Union, fires back, saying the allegations of fraud against her are baseless, Damon. Baseless, she says. Okay. She's not really married to her dad.
John, this is only the latest in a long series, like a daisy chain of mortgage fraud by Big Tish. So just weeks before Donald Trump's so-called evaluation trial, pardon me, she filed a power of attorney with the mortgage company in which she said that within 60 days of closing on this property, she would become a legal resident of the Commonwealth of Virginia. The problem with that, of course, is that would make her constitutionally ineligible to be the Attorney General of New York. And actually, I checked New York state law. The way it works is if you move out of state, the office is automatically vacated. There isn't even a hearing. So only one of two things can be true. Either she moved, in which case she's not eligible to be AG, or she didn't move, in which case she is guilty of mortgage fraud. That would be interesting if that was just the first case, but you go all the way back to her first mortgage, one that she got when she was 24 years old, fresh out of Howard University. She claimed that her father was her husband in order to use his balance sheet and his finances to qualify for the mortgage, and the mortgage was granted. If you look on the mortgage, it lists Tish James and her father Robert James as man and wife. But if you look at the title on the property, it correctly lists them as father and daughter. It's mortgage fraud. Then there's another instance in which she got a property in Virginia under a HAMP loan, a federal loan, that was specifically for investment properties of less than 4 units. So she qualified for and got this loan, but I had somebody go look at the property. It has 5 units, not eligible. So I guess the bottom line of this is pretty clear, at least as far as mortgages are concerned. Letitia James says that no person is above the law except for evidently for her.
Right.
Now, this doesn't even go into the serial cover-up of sexual assault by her chief of staff, who happens to be Muslim, in which she clearly moved to cover that up. This lawsuit by at least one of these 3 women was filed in 2022. Only weeks ago, the appeals court in New York, dominated by Democrats, dismissed not the suit, but the suit against her.
Right.
So she's not being held responsible. And then you have the other really troubling question of how she financed her campaign for Attorney General. Most of that money came through the Democrat payment processing company, Act Blue. What they do, John, is they turn off the credit card verification where you have to match the address of the cardholder, and they basically funneled millions of dollars into her campaign from donors who either don't really exist, or when you contact them, when you go to their doorstep, and you show them the 27 contributions they gave to Letitia James, they say to you, who? What?
Right.
What are you talking about?
Right.
So she's a fraud. And the irony of this is that she tried to hold Donald Trump to a false standard. She used a law which has never been used,
Right.
claiming that he inflated the value of his assets in order to make commercial real estate loans, all of which got paid back on time. And the people who loaned Trump the money made $40 million profit, and they would do the loan again tomorrow.
Of course.
So I think I think she's in big trouble. She has now filed a bunch of lawsuits, and she's trying to distract attention from this, but it won't work. Late today, there was a story that the Federal Home Loan Finance Administration has reviewed all of her mortgage documents, and they've made a referral to the U.S. Justice Department.
Beautiful.
Now, I know I've raised issues about lack of action, but there is at least some action being taken now against Letitia James, who's been credibly accused of engaging in mortgage fraud. And it's been the accusation or the criminal referral was made by the relevant federal agency related to mortgaging and federal financing for home mortgages, et cetera. Was it FHFA, Federal Home Finance Administration, I think it's called. So they made a referral to the Justice Department. Now it's been confirmed the FBI is investigating Letitia James up in Albany. And according to the Times-Union, the U.S. attorney appointed by Trump in Albany said the following: "This is being handled at the time by Maine Department of Justice and the Albany field office. We stand prepared to act in the capacity that we need to when and if we are informed there's a charge to be made. Unlike Letitia James, who unethically ran around the state campaigning on getting Donald Trump, my office conducts itself in a manner that is proper and professional." And at a core, Letitia James is accused of essentially making false statements on these mortgage forms. And as the Times-Union points out, and this is kind of the core issue of what she did wrong. So one of the mortgage documents, according to the paper, filed in connection with James's purchase of a single-family residence, a notarized power of attorney document was signed as a witness by Jennifer Levy, who was the first Deputy Attorney General. The second witness on the document was Sharona Parchment, an executive assistant with the Attorney General's office. A spokesman for James did not immediately respond to questions about why Levy and Parchment would have been asked to sign a document related to the Attorney General's purchase of a private residence. And the private residence was where? Not New York, but in Norfolk, Virginia. And here's where the crux of the issue is. The document, which James also signed, stated, "I hereby declare that I intend to occupy this property as my principal residence." Under state law, James's principal residence as a statewide elected official must be in New York. So there's the rub for Letitia James. It may seem like small fry issues, but A, she's the Attorney General. B, she prosecuted Trump. Unlike this alleged information, there's no credible information that Trump did anything wrong in the civil targeting of Trump over his valuation of his businesses. Here, she personally signed something that was self-evidently false, at least as alleged, and needs to be investigated. So, is it perfect accountability? No, but it's a good start. So we'll see how this turns out. And she may have a defense, and I'm not ruling that out. But there's got to be the same level of scrutiny of what she's done when it comes to mortgages as to what Trump did when it came to his finances of buildings and property and real estate he purchased.
That's all for today. Thank you. If you want global news to keep you up to date on any new developments, please subscribe our channel and forward our content with your friends on social media and email. Thank you very much for keep supporting me. Stay safe, be blessed. Namaste.
Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.